watchers, welcome to Perth Watch, your horology channel broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I have the pleasure to review the second piece from Australis Watch Corp. Now, I reviewed their Great Barrier Reef some time ago, and that was a little bit of an initial foray for Vias and his team. Now this one, I think they are possibly onto a real winner. It comes in this watch carrying case type of packaging. So guys, without further ado, let's get into today's piece. Alright guys, so here we have the package on the table. So faux leather, and you've seen kind of these watch carrying cases before, I would think. Australis logo there, kind of inspired by the boomerang in silver, and nothing much more to say. Now spinability, it's minimal because it's a little bit grippy on the table, so that is, probably a 1, less than 2 out of 5, I would think. Now this is absolutely chock-a-block full. Warranty card, microfiber cleaning cloth, nothing too special there, but look at how many straps they have packed in here. And I will get into these in more detail. NATO style, printed leather. Another one that I can't figure how it originally fit in, but that's silicone rubber. And yes, there is yet more. There's another kind of black leather one there with a pre-V buckle there, and spare links that I have taken out to size to my wrist. Okay, so let's just put that aside and show you guys this piece in closer detail. So here, guys, this is the Australis C-Shade automatic diver. This is in the white color. It does come in other color variations, of course. There's going to be a little bit of a blue, one with a lime green, a black, and I think those are the original 4, but with Kickstarter goals there will be other variations available. And the Kickstarter will be coming out later in October. Hopefully you'll see the sign up link in what I can put down below for you to check out more details. Now, the price of this is the thing that's going to be rather astounding. So for the first 80 backers on the Kickstarter, this is going to be $400. And I think that is pretty amazing value, probably the best value for what you are getting at this price range that I know of. I think, open to debate, of course, but let me know what you think at the end. This is going to be an interesting discussion. Okay, guys, so first up, as I usually do, let's talk about the movement in here. So what we have in here is none other than the Sellita SW200-1. It is going to be regulated in 4 positions, so reasonably good accuracy you can expect in the production model. This prototype is running about plus 10 seconds per day, which is acceptable, is well within the typical rated accuracies of, say, an ETA 2824, for example. Now, the SW200 is a date movement. This is not a watch with a date that has been implemented. Now, there is a date position on the crown, but I can't feel a date disc, a date wheel clicking along. So it looks like they've removed the date wheel, which is good. I like that they've removed that rather than left it in as a ghost date position there. Okay, moving on to the case now. The case here actually is, just to point out, is narrower than the bezel. Hopefully that's pretty clear to you guys there. So the case is 40.8 millimeters. The bezel itself, full diameter, is 42. And most of the time, that is the thing that's going to play a role in terms of the wrist presence and how it looks on your particular wrist. So 42 millimeters, the bezel, that's probably what you should take into account. Thickness is reasonable, actually, at just under 13 millimeters, 12.8 millimeters thickness, 22 millimeter lugs for this case, and the lug to lug distance at 49. But I'm going to say the way the lugs turn down, it's kind of evocative of that boomerang logo there. It's pretty good. It kind of turns down onto the wrist, so it doesn't wear anywhere near, what a typical 49 might. And also it's got female end links, which is a bonus. It helps it wear easier. Overall weight, right, on this particular metal bracelet, right, steel bracelet with the links removed, for my hand is 181 grams, so very substantial. If you put on all the links, it's going to be over 190. Definitely a substantial presence on the wrist there. If you swap it to, for example, a leather or silicone, it comes in around 112 to 115 grams. So much lighter. A lot of the weight is added on by this metal bracelet. One thing to note is you can see this steel doesn't look quite as silvery as other steel might. It's because it's got a proprietary treatment to harden it, and it's also been coated with a hardness coating that raises the hardness to 1100 HV, which is about 4 or 5 times the plain hardness of 316L steel. So a lot more scratch resistant than naked 316L steel is what this is. Finishing wise is pretty much completely brushed. So the bezel, right, circular brushing on top, a little bit of vertical brushing on the sides there, longitudinal brushing on the top surface of the lugs and the bracelet. At the moment, this is vertical brushed at the side, but Vios, the owner, tells me that it's going to be longitudinal brush on the production. I don't mind it either way. Maybe longitudinal will allow them to finish it a bit sharper. Going to the bottom is circular brushing, both on the bottom surface of the lugs as well as that case back there. In that case back, you can see stamped seahorse with a bit of a plain matte detail around it. Could do with a bit more detail. I think there's a lot more real estate there that can be used up, but as it is, it's a stamped seahorse in the middle there. Screw down case back, of course, and then you have a screw down sign crown. The water rating on this watch is 300 meters. Right, moving on to the dial now. This here is, what I like to call a satin white dial. It's got printed details, right? Chapter ring, that orange for the C shade down above the 6 o'clock position there. But it does have an applied orange logo at the 12 o'clock position and full 12 applied faceted indices, which are pretty nicely polished. The hands here are also polished, faceted. I like to call these block hands. I don't know what you would call that shape. So it's kind of interesting hands, which are also unique, not something I've seen before. So I'm going to call it block hands. Now, this white dial model, I think it looks better with black color. And in fact, they will seriously and very lightly change it to black finished indices and hands for the production, which I think will lift the whole thing. So kudos on them for picking that up and wanting to make that change. It's got an orange second hand here, of course, with a block for the second hand loom. The loom here is BGW9 and it grows pretty nicely. I have to say, it glows through the night, including a full loom bezel. Loom shot right here, of course, for you guys to check out how it will look like in the dark. Okay, now surrounding the dial, we got a 120 click unidirectional dive style bezel, of course. That's what you're going to expect here. It's got a sapphire crystal insert, which, as I said, is a full loom. Let's just listen to it now. 5, 10 clicks. Okay, so 120 click unidirectional, and it's pretty firm, I have to say. Not too firm that it's difficult, but very minimal black play, quite smooth. Pretty well done, I have to say, what they have achieved on this bezel here. On top of the dial is none other than a flat, so it's not domed, it's a flat sapphire crystal, 4 layers of anti-reflective coating, and you can see it's pretty nice, right? You can't see me reflecting on that glass there. Right, moving on to this particular bracelet. So the bracelet is 3-piece per link. As I mentioned, it's brushed steel, also treated with the hardness coating. Screw adjustment, hopefully you can see that. Of course, you're getting solid end links and you got those quick release spring bars there. It tapers from 22 to 20 millimeters and the clasp is just over 22. It's 22.2 millimeters as I've measured it with the calipers. It's got a nice push button release here, very solid, right? Solidly done here. It's got a 5-position glide lock or glide lock style, right? And it's also got 3-point micro adjust here. Now, at the moment, this doesn't function because if I push this in, this thing gets stuck in a bent position and you can't actually bend it because it's just interacting a little bit too closely with what's inside here. I think if they push those holes down, maybe even 0.5 millimeter, this will allow those 3-point micro adjustments to function. Do you really need that with a glide lock? Maybe not, but it does add a little bit of extra functionality and adjustment, which would be a plus. Okay, so that's it, guys. I'm gonna snap this on my wrist now for a wrist shot, and there you go, the Australis C shade, the awesome Australis C shade on my 17cm wrist. So remember, 49mm lug to lug, but female endings and down curving lugs means it sits absolutely fine despite that 42mm bezel and big wrist presence, 180 grams, which is very substantial. Okay, that's how that that bracelet looks like, and it's pretty cool. Very nicely done, I have to say, overall. All right, so that's the description of the watch with this bracelet. I'm gonna kind of show you guys the awesome package here now. Okay, so these ones don't come with quick release, so I'm gonna have to put that aside for the last bit. These ones do, so I can kind of show it to you guys now. And it's just such a joy to work with these because very easy to just pinch this off, and there's the bracelet. I'm gonna put that aside, and let's just put on, for example, this one for you to see now. And there you go, that's me doing it from behind the camera. It took me a while because actually, honestly, I'm feeling a bit under the weather, and it's not entirely straightforward to find a hole, but you can do it very easily, I think, if you're not trying to do it from behind the camera. And this is printed leather. This is the Great Wave of Kanagawa, one of the most recognizable pieces of Japanese art in the world, and it is brilliant. It doesn't suit this watch directly because it's not really matched to this. This is just a bonus strap. I might swap this onto one of my Seiko divers because it will suit a Seiko diver very, very well. But quality wise, pretty darn good. It's very comfortable, and let's just put it on the wrist for a wrist shot for you guys. And there you have it on this particular watch. So again, this is white and orange. There's no orange on here. So not entirely suitable, but hey, look, it's a cool strap that is an option. You can choose either that or the match leather. I think that will be the option that is available. Okay, so that one's the Great Wave of Kanagawa printed leather with a brushed steel buckle and also quick release bars, as I've shown you. Now let's just try this one, which is the other one with quick release bars. Let's have a look. And there we have it. So this is the black leather that is an option to come with it. I think this is stitched black leather. It's pretty good quality, absolutely comfortable, no complaints about it. But I think in comparison with the rest of the straps here, this is probably the most generic looking. The thing that makes it stand out, apart from the quick release, is this wide brush steel buckle, which is in the Panerai Preview style, which makes it differentiated a bit. Okay, so that's what I can say about this one. Let's put on the wrist now for you guys. And there it is, the black leather, stitched leather on this watch. Okay, nothing too special, but absolutely functional. Nothing wrong with it at all. Just that it kind of pales in comparison with the other ones that are in here, including the printed leather and these ones, which I'm not going to swap live because they are not with quick release bars. But this is a lovely silicone rubber, very, very comfortable, and it's got this nice texture orange at the back. It looks like two layers adhered into one, so that color coming through isn't going to rub off or wash off. So it's pretty darn good, and I'm really enjoying this. And this one as well, color match to this watch, orange and white, NATO style, not a true NATO, but brushed metal hardware and quadruple thickness, which makes it very substantial. But for small wrists, this might kind of stick out a little bit, more than perhaps you want it to. That's the only slight gripe, but if you have a larger wrist, it's not going to be a problem. So not going to put this on live, but I'm going to put wrist shots and kind of photography here for you guys to see how this looks like on the on this particular watch. Hopefully you can appreciate some of it without me swapping it live on screen here. Okay, so let's just put this aside now. We've also got that, so much that is on offer here. So guys, what do I enjoy about this? I reckon, this is one of the best value micro brand offerings I have ever seen. Really, it really is that good. I think it's possibly perfect as a micro brand, I would have to say. So what do I want in a micro brand? Top specs. So you're going to get the Sellita Swiss movement here, sapphire crystal, BGW9 lume. You got that 1100 HV hardness coating, and you got a great bracelet with steel and screw link adjust and all that, and a great clasp, right? Top specs, quality execution. This dial is pretty well done. It's pretty flawless. I can't spot any major flaws in it. The finishing is not 100%, but I expect the longitudinal brushing will be a lift up in the production. So no major complaints about the quality of the execution here. Sharp pricing, $400 for this watch for the specs that it gives you, Swiss movement, and the strap package that it's going to offer. Well, second to none, really. It really is fantastic value at the $400 price point. Let me know if you think there is something better you have seen. And the one that's most difficult for micro brands, original design. Now, this is not a direct homage of anything as far as I'm aware. A lot of originality here. The hands, the kind of printing on the bezel, how the bezel is laid out, the case shape, all of this, original design, which is really the hardest thing for micro brands to do. So it hits, I reckon, all the goals, and it gives us something more. It gives us these bonus accessories, which, 4 straps in the package, right? You get to choose between the Kanagawa or the black leather for this watch. Second to none as well. I've not seen anybody offer this many. I think apart from all that, a very nicely designed piece with very balanced design, I reckon, the way that they've done this piece here. This white dial is just nice and fresh. It's so good looking. And I think if they change the markers and the hands to black, it will be further enhancing this whole watch. Compelling strap options. These straps, tell you, they are great. The leather, black leather here is possibly the most ordinary, but all of these are great quality. And I told buyers, they're threatening to steal the show, away from the watch here. They're that good. Then well done, they have improved, included such fantastic straps. What are the weaknesses? What are concerns that I have about here? Well, nothing much. I think the case back could do with a bit more detail. That would be an easy lift here. Another thing would be drilled lugs. That's an easy thing to include. That would lift the whole thing, I think, for a functional dive watch. And if they improve the clasp, micro adjust holes that I mentioned earlier, that would lift the whole package to pretty much perfection here. What else can I say? Maybe the package is, the packaging here is not very spinny, not the most spinnable, but, seriously, all very minor gripes on a fantastic package. So guys, that's a long review. I've waffled on long enough. Let's flip it around now for the wrap up. So there you go, guys, my review of the Australis C-Shade Automatic Diver. I think I've said enough about it. I think it is possibly a real winner. Let me know your thoughts. I think it hits so much of the points that we want to see from micro brand offerings, and I really wish him all the best. It will, I suspect, go off to a flying start. So look forward to hear what you guys have to say and the discussion that comes out from this. Guys, if you enjoy my videos, do consider subscribing. New content every week, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you again for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you guys again next time.